sing a song today, and it's a strategy for me to make sure that every single day is amazing. And as I shared before, it's really easy to be happy and positive and be a really nice person when everything's going great. And even if you look back at this time last year where the rest of the world couldn't, they were all in happy homestay, and here we were in Auckland, and we were allowed to, I went to an All Blacks game, and we were all going and doing all the things that the rest of the world couldn't do. And we were all happy, positive people, weren't we? Unfortunately, the situation has changed, but I would like to put a different spin on that, because I think it's fortunate that the situation has changed, because we now get to find out who we really are, who the people around us really are, who the government really is, and we get to, if you're a positive, happy person, you get to now practice your positivity skills. And here's a great question: how could you get stronger and tougher and wiser if you never got tested? We're all healthy, fit and strong, but how would we get fit? How would we become healthier? How would we get stronger if we didn't overload our muscles and bones, our heart and lungs? If we didn't put stress on our body, we wouldn't get fitter. And our brain's exactly the same. If we don't put stress on our brain, we don't get any stronger. Now, interestingly, as exercise professionals, we've got this and I believe we've got the prevention and the cure for every single medical challenge, mental and physical. We've got the best product in the whole wide world, and I think we forget that. We kind of focus on, and unfortunately our industry, not our profession, tends to focus on ripped abdominals and tight butt cheeks and big arms and don't I look good? But that's what I love about what you guys do. It's about connection and people, and the number that I heard this morning, I think my heart rate went up because I was so excited. We're hearing lots of numbers at the moment, but to hear that you're personally connecting with over 1,000 of your members, that just makes my heart, thank you so very much. So I want to share with you some Rowie strategies on how to be incredibly happy every single day. And I get accused every day of being obnoxiously happy and ridiculously happy and unrealistically happy, and you can't be that happy all the time. Well, what if you could? And I'm going to ask you an even more important question. As an exercise professional and people who are involved in the exercise profession, how many people share with us, I would be happy if, or I'll be happier when? I'd be happier if I lost weight. I'd be happier if I was in better shape. I'll be happier when I go on holidays. I'll be happier when I get out of happy homestay. I'll be happy when I can go on a different holiday. And we always talk about if and when. Well, what if it was the other way round? What if you're a really happy, positive person, it doesn't matter where you are, what's happening around you, what other people are doing, you can still have a really great day and have a really great life. So here's my number one strategy, and I've only got 5 for you today. For me, number 1 is that we choose our words. Every time we open our mouth to make noises, we get to decide what we're going to say. Now, a lot of people will disagree with that. They'll say, oh no, if I'm in a bad mood, I can't control what comes out of my mouth. Well, that's actually not true. Everything that we say, we get a choice. So if somebody says to you, how are you today? You can say, oh, I'm terrible and it's raining and we're in lockdown and I hate all of this. The words that we use, though, are the words that we hear and the words that other people hear. And our words control our thoughts, because our words are our thoughts. Every time I say something, I hear that and it goes into my brain. So I get to choose what I say, which means I get to choose what I think. If that's true, and if you can buy into that, then my thoughts then control my actions, and my actions control my results. And that's not just some airy-fairy motivational, Rowie's giving us a speech. Think about how that actually works. So if somebody says to you, how are you? And you say, oh, not too bad, wish it was Friday. You're now putting a negative spin into your own brain. And I always use the example of the Google. Just put your hand up just for fun. How many people have used Google in the last 24 hours, in the last couple of days? You've Googled something. How many? Yeah, we all do. It's part of our life now. It's it used to be the name of a company, and now it's a verb in the Oxford Dictionary because we all Google stuff. Well, the 2 guys that created that company, Larry and Sergey, they just created Google search engine on how the human brain works. if I type in something, type a word into Google, Google gives me back what I've typed in. So if I type in the word rental car, that's exactly what comes up. In seconds, Google gives me all the websites that have got rental cars in them, millions of them. Well, the brain works the same way. If I type in a word, my subconscious brain gives me back every file in my brain that contains that word. So if I say I'm angry or grumpy or miserable or sad or stressed, or a classic for us women is a fat day, I'm having a fat day. Well, if you tell yourself first thing in the morning that you're having a fat day, guess what you're having today? You ain't got no choice now. You've actually said to your own brain, I'm fat. And your subconscious brain will feed back to you, yes, you are, and here's all the reasons why you're fat. And it could be as far back as you're a little girl and somebody grabbed your cheeks and said, oh, look, it's a fat little baby. Or your first boyfriend said, I don't like you anymore because you're fat. We will remember, our brain holds all of that stuff. So what I'm asking you from my heart to yours as exercise professionals, do we have a responsibility to use positive words? If you consider yourself to be a positive person, I'm asking you to test yourself now every day. Every time somebody says something negative, can you turn it into a positive and think, how can I do that? So when you're making your telephone calls and people say, oh, I'm really stressed. Well, I always say this, isn't it awesome? Because the body's designed to handle stress, and the fitter you are and the stronger you are, the more cortisol and epinephrine and adrenaline you'll produce, which means you've got more movement drugs. So the faster and harder you move, the better you'll be able to handle stress. And I've now produced that into a normal script when people share with me, oh, I'm so stressed. So the really important thing though is, how do you do that? How do you be the person that can be positive all the time? And I will ask you this very personal question. Do you have a strategy, a personal strategy as a leader, as a manager, as an adult, as a teacher, as a coach, as a parent, to make sure that when people look into your life, when they look into you, when they experience you, that they get positivity? So I'm not here to preach at you. I've got a strategy for that, and it goes like this. Paul hinted at it. Every single day, without fail, I have changed the names of the days of the week. Because one of the things in particular at the moment with this whole worldwide challenge for the human race is that we're using words that are negative every day, and particularly when the government gets on telly and starts talking, they're using these very specific, particular negative words to drive fear. And I don't want to be fearful of anything, and particularly when I'm healthy, fit and strong, I'm certainly not scared of anything. So instead of using lockdown, which is for criminals in jail, by the way, I say happy homestay. Woohoo, we're in happy homestay. Good for your brain because you're typing in happy homestay, not lockdown, into your own brain, but also very, very cool when you're talking to people. How are you in happy homestay? There's a really big one for me. I've had a lot of my students who have been trying to get in and out of New Zealand, of course, and happy hotel stay, 2 weeks locked in a room with no air and hotel food and no connection with other people. If you want to screw up someone's immune system, that's probably a really good way to do it. But if you're in there and you're going to be going into happy hotel stay, why not make the most of it and call it happy hotel stay instead of I'm going into quarantine, which is obviously for sick people. That's the only people that get quarantined are sick people. So it goes like this. May your Mondays be magical, may your Tuesdays be terrific, may your Wednesdays be very wow, and your Thursdays be thankful, may your Fridays be a fun day, may your Saturdays be super, may your Sundays be sparkly, because you choose them to be. Now, that's what we call untoned. A muscle can't be untoned because it's got oxygen and blood supply. A voice can certainly be untoned, but I sing loudly all the time. Of course, when you sing, you're telling your brain that you're a happy person if you sing happy words. But have a listen to that change of vocabulary. Particularly yesterday, when most people suffer from Mondayitis, which is an inflammation of the Monday. Imagine instead of saying Monday, you said magical day. How are you today? Of course I'm awesome. It's magical day. How else could I be? I'm having a great day. How are you today? Today's my favourite because I always share this. You ready? It's a terrific day. I'm injecting and infecting people with my terrificness today. Say it. I'm injecting and infecting people with my terrificness today. Go. I'm injecting and infecting people with my terrificness today. It's a whole change of headspace. Wow Day Wednesday, Thankful Day Thursday, Fun Day Friday, Super Day with 27 O's in the middle, and Sparkle Day Sunday. And what it does is it gives you a different headspace every day rather than just the boring, mundane, normal old day. And most people suffer from Monday-itis and they wish it was Friday. And I don't want to live my life like that. I don't know about you. I want to be a happy person every single day. So that's my number one strategy for changing my headspace. The next thing that happens at our house every day, and if you want to use this, it'll make massive value changes to your own personal well-being every day. When Cayman and I wake up, the very first thing we say every morning without fail is, I love you. And if you're not waking up with somebody really special to be able to say I love you, then look in the mirror and say I love you. Because you are the most important person in the world. If you can't go out into the world as a warrior, as a strong, positive person with self-respect and self-esteem, it's going to be a tough day. So look yourself in the eye and say, I love you. So we say that to each other. And the very next thing we do every day, and we've already done it today, is what am I thankful for? It's really easy to be angry and annoyed and frustrated with the things that we don't like. But what are we thankful for? And every single day, it's that I love you comes first and what am I thankful for comes second. The next thing is what are we looking forward to? So again, we're projecting into the day that something awesome is going to happen. And it might be today, it might be next week, it might be next year. The last one for me for yesterday was I can't wait for a time when we all have a chat exactly like this and we say, remember that really weird time back in 2021 when people didn't talk to each other and they were in happy homestay for such a long time? Wasn't that a weird time? And we look back on this as just an experience that made us stronger, wiser and better. And that's a really big question I've got for all of us today. Will this make me stronger and wiser and better? Or will I come out of this as a person who's weaker and sicker and angrier with the world? And I don't want to be that person, and I'm sure that you don't either. So every single day, what day is it? Oh, it's terrific day. I'm injecting and infecting people with my terrificness. Today, K-Man, I love you, or Rowie, I love you if he's not here. And then what am I thankful for and what am I looking forward to? So I'm asking very passionately, could we change our vocabulary? Could there be could your team have a vocabulary that is unique and special to your team? That people know when they go to see you guys that they're going to get this positivity that's different from the rest of the world. They don't use negative words there. They only use positive words there. That, of course, then drives your actions, which drives your results, which means you get positive results. So that's step number one. The next four are really simple, and I just use the word lead, and it's something that I'm asking all of us today. If you are a parent, if you are a teacher, if you are an exercise professional, if you're a boss, a manager or a leader, or if you are simply an adult, the people that are struggling, that are going to have the toughest time if we don't be tough, strong, wise, happy people, are our kids. Can you imagine what our kids, if you were a kid that just arrived in the world today, what would you think of the world? I go running around, and it's really bizarre, I go running around at Queenstown under the Remarkables Mountains where there's the most beautiful parks in the world, the most beautiful, you just have to look up because it's gorgeous. And there's little kids. Yesterday there was a little boy who riding, and I've been saying hello to him for a whole year. He went past me yesterday and I said, how you going, mate? And he said, I can't talk to you. I'm not allowed to talk to anybody because it's COVID. He's about 9. We can't do that to our kids. We have to stop doing that to our kids. And as adults, we have to take responsibility for what we're doing to our children. So I just went, big happy smiley face, you are a legend, I see you on your scooter every day, I'm really proud of you for exercising every day, you're amazing. And he put his arms up in the air and he said, yes I am. Please, please add value to the people in your world. So be a leader. So my four letters for lead are really simple. Number 1 for L is, are you living the example? It's easy to talk about what you're going to do. It's easy to talk about being healthy, fit and strong. It's easy to talk about being positive. But are you actually living that every single day? And the 2 L's, because what goes with living an example is you have to keep learning. And as exercise professionals, the human body for me is the most amazing machine. I've been studying neuroscience now for a very long time. My father died of Alzheimer's. And my question was, if every other muscle or every other cell in your body can regenerate, why can't we regenerate my father's brain? And the answer back then in 1996 and 7 was that once brain cells are dead, they're dead. You can't grow new ones. Well, in 1999, my father was already dead. We now discovered that neurogenesis can happen and we can grow new brain cells. We also have neuroplasticity, which means we can change the way we think. And for those of you who are unaware of this, I'm about to share with you the most exciting news ever. Getting puffed and lifting heavy are the 2 most powerful ways to get neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. If you want to get smarter and wiser and reduce your chance of any kind of mental illness, including the big killer, which is depression, and I say that because even if you're not dead, if you're depressed, you may as well be because you're not enjoying your life. And I don't want that for our kids, and I certainly don't want that for anybody that I care about. And the most amazing thing is when you get really highly intensely puffed and when you lift really heavy, the neurochemistry in your brain changes. So we get that epinephrine, adrenaline. When you have to move, your body provides you with the and I know that you guys know this, but I just get so excited. Epinephrine and adrenaline are the movement drugs. Endorphins are the pain-killing drugs. So not only can we move really fast, but it doesn't even hurt. And after we've run away, after we've sprinted, after we've fought the animal, and I'll just give you a side note there, if you are a single person and you're under threat or under stress, you can run away by yourself. You can run. You can flight. But if you're a parent, a teacher, a leader, a boss, you can't flight. You have to fight. You have to turn and fight, which means you've got everything you need. You've got adrenaline, you've got epinephrine, you've got cortisol. Your body's ready to do it. So turn and fight the challenge. You become stronger because of it. But what happens then? Your brain goes, Rowie, you legend, you overcame the challenge. Now we're going to fill your brain up with dopamine, reward drug, serotonin, satisfaction drug, brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is fertilizer for your brain. So you think more clearly, you make better decisions, you feel better about yourself, you love your life more, and you feel rewarded. Can everybody hear how excited I am? I feel like a preacher. This is the best thing for everybody's brain, is to get puffed and to lift heavy. So if you can get into that headspace, get puff, lift heavy, get puff, lift heavy, get puff, lift heavy, you will change people's brains, not just their body. So let's get excited about exercise because we've got the prevention and cure for those big killer diseases. Most importantly, we've got the prevention and cure to make sure that we've got happy brains. So are you living the example and are you learning? And just on a personal side note, I didn't finish high school. I only went to year 9. And everybody said to me, you can't be successful. You've got blonde hair. You're a woman. You don't have a tertiary education. And all I've done every day since I left high school is keep learning because I'm really excited about what I'm learning about. So the L for lead is live the example, and you can't do that if you're not continually learning, filling your brain up with really great stuff, getting really puffed and lifting really heavy. The next word for me, or the next really important strategy for me, is excellence. It's not just living, it's living for excellence. What are you doing every day to avoid average? And we hear that word all the time. The average number of people, the average house price, the average time it takes to recover from an injury, the average wage. We're bombarded with that word all the time. Well, here's a really good one. If you ever have an injury and a medical professional says to you, the average time to recover from this injury is, I always ask this question. Okay, fair enough. What's the fastest time? What's the Guinness Book of Records fastest time of somebody recovering from this injury? Because that's going to be me. And watch the face of the medical professional. They go, what? What's going on? This person actually wants to get better quickly. So if you want to avoid average in any area of your life, in your health, in your strength, in your career path, in your finances, in your relationships, you can't focus on somewhere in the middle. You have to be aiming for excellence. So are you L living the example? Are you learning every day? But E is excellence, living for excellence in every area. Why would you accept second best for anything that you do? The next one is attitude. And for me, there's two parts to attitude. There's never give up attitude and there's positive attitude. And unfortunately, we're bombarded every day with people that just give up. It's all too hard. People do it with their exercise program all the time. It's all too hard. I can't do it. I'm busy. I'm tired. It's raining. It's cold. If you promise yourself that I've got a never give up attitude, it means you can never fail. And this is one of my favorite quotes. The definition for me of failure is giving up. So if I never give up, I can never fail. If I never give up, I can never fail. And if you listen to this quote really carefully, those of you that do have some kind of Christian background, you'll have heard it before. It goes like this. You'll see me waving at the top or dead on the side, but I'm not coming back. I'll do it or die. I've got goosebumps when I say that. You'll see me waving from the top or dead on the side, but I'm not coming back. I'll do it or die. And you watch the world get the hell out of your way when you've got that kind of attitude. Those of you that are sports people, you cannot be beaten in that situation. Even if you lose that championship round or that event, you cannot be beaten with that attitude because every time you fall down, you just get back up again. So never give up attitude. Doesn't matter what happens to you. If you make that commitment, I'm not going to give up on whatever goal that you've set, whatever core value you're living by. If you've got a never give up attitude, you can never fail. And then, of course, if you've got a positive attitude, you can't fail either because if you turn every negative into a positive, this is not happening in Auckland at the moment, so I use a little bit of it. It's a bit funny, but people used to complain to me about the traffic in Auckland. Oh, the traffic, Rowie, the traffic. Well, guess what? There's no traffic at the moment. Careful what you wish for. I always share with people when they say to me, the traffic, that's awesome. There's cars on the road. That's what roads are for. That's what cars are for. If you were to go outside your house right now and there was no cars on the road, you'd be wondering what's going on. Now, that used to be a joke, and unfortunately now it's become normal in some of the biggest cities in the world. And I have students in Melbourne and Sydney as well that have had a really, really interesting time, a real cool test of their mental toughness this last 12 months. So rather than traffic, it's cars on the road. Rather than rain, it's free water out of the sky. Instead of Monday-itis, it's magical day. And then every time somebody says something negative, could you turn it into a positive? So I'm going to give you some really harsh examples. Somebody says to me, I've just gone through a divorce. I always go, fantastic, that's awesome. Somebody was unhappy in that relationship. If you were unhappy, congratulations for getting out. If the other person was unhappy, congratulations. And what that always does for people, by the way, is it changes their headspace. Because most people are looking for you to sympathise with them. And I like a better word, it's called empathise. How can we get better from this? How can we grow from this? How can we get stronger from this? So whatever happens, whatever terrible thing happens in your life, can you learn and grow from it? My other really extreme example that's happened to all of us, and it's certainly happened to me multiple times in my life, is I've lost people. People die. And often people are really sad and upset about that. I like to look the other direction and say I'm going to celebrate the life of a person that added so much value to my life that it hurts so hard that they've gone. Because if it hurts really hard, it means that they were really important to me and it was really special. And I've dealt with many, many people in my life who've never had that beautiful experience of loving so hard that if the person goes, it hurts. So we're all going to die. I hate to tell you this. I'm the most positive person in the world, but we're all going to die. Life is a terminal illness. But it's not that we die. It's how we live every day. We're only going to die one time, but we live every single day. And my question is this: how are you going to live today, and what value are you going to add to the world today? The last letter for lead is my favourite word, and when I do die, I want this on my whatever I get buried in. I think it's going to be a bright yellow box with smiley faces all over it. And the word is discipline. Doing what you should do, when you should do it, even if you don't feel like it. And interestingly, if you buy into that definition of discipline, is it possible that the first two are irrelevant? Because we all know what we should do, and we all know when we should do it. It's just when we don't feel like it. So we all know that it's important to exercise. And we all know that it's probably a really good idea that if you want to feel good every day, people say to me, Rowie, how often should I exercise? And I always ask, how often do you want to feel good? That's always my response. How often do you want to feel good? And I have this great strategy. It's called 4 puffs an hour. And I do that because every 15 minutes I pump happy drugs into my brain. I do something for 10 seconds that gets me really puffed, which I'm due now, by the way, and I've already had several this morning, to make sure that I've always got serotonin and dopamine in my brain. So I know what to do and I know when to do it. It's when you don't feel like it that makes the difference. So if it's too cold, if it's too hot, if you're stressed, if you're miserable, if you're in happy homestay, if the government's just made some crappy announcement that's going to change your life for the next 2 weeks, discipline says, I'm going to discipline my disappointment. I'm going to discipline my anger. I'm going to discipline my frustration. I'm going to be who I am regardless of what's going on around me. And if you buy into discipline as being something that you're going to live your life by, my question is how could you possibly lose? If you've decided to be a certain kind of person, if you've decided that you're going to be a positive person regardless and use positive words, if you buy into this simple strategy of lead, which is live the example, learn every day, have an attitude of excellence, make sure that you have a positive, never give up attitude, and if you live by discipline every day. People say to me, Rowie, how do you be happy every day? I reckon it's bloody easy. When you wake up every day loving your life and living your life in a way that you're proud, and I'm going to use a really important question now for everybody. We live in a world right now where people are lowering their standards to suit the crowd, or they're changing their core values, or they're negotiating their non-negotiable standards because they either want the crowd to like them or they want to fit in with the crowd. And this is a really interesting time to see who won't lower their standards. There's a lot of people, as Paul shared this morning, that they're not exercising at the moment. People that would normally go to the gym every single day have stopped exercising. See, they've lowered their standards and they're going to blame the government. Oh, this bloody lockdown. Guess what? It's Happy Homestay, and what a perfect opportunity to get fitter and stronger than you've ever been. Please get on the phone and talk to the people who need you the most. There are people sitting in your world right now. They're suicidal, they're depressed, they're angry, their business has gone down the toilet, their kids can't go to school, they're getting fatter by the day. The world is in a really shit place. But here's my very favourite quote to finish with. Shit things will always happen, and there'll always be shit people. But the world will only ever be a bad place when good people do nothing. And I believe that your team is a team of beautiful people, and there are people out there right now that need your happy smiley face. So please look after you so that you can go and look after other people. If we ever get to go on a plane again, they'll tell you this when you get on the plane. In a state of emergency, a mask will fall out of the ceiling. And please put that mask on your face first, not on your children, not on the old people, not on anybody else. Because you can't look after anybody else unless you look after yourself first. So please be the fittest, strongest, healthiest, most positive, most mentally tough person in your world so that you can be that for all the people that don't have that right now. Thank you for having me this morning.